Mom almost called the school when I told her this story, as she thought that was highly irresponsible, but I explained the lack of bears and that was just him trying to dismiss the Whiteman thoughts in his head. Everyone fucking makes a break for camp. We hear the thing pick up speed, even over our own footsteps and the wind in our ears. One kid eats it and the mellow teacher picks him up and continues. We all gather in the open-air canopy thingy that had the tables and such. People who were at camp barraging us with questions. Edge of camp behind some trees, hiding it somewhat but not enough to mask its obvious otherworldliness. Dave keeps repeating, "That's not a moose, that's not a moose." It seems to want to move towards camp, kind of shifts weight in that fashion. Some kids begin screaming. Teachers just start yelling at it to get out of here and such. It turns and shuffles into the woods again. None of us get a wink of sleep. Ranger comes by in the morning asking what happened. Dave and Mellow teacher take him away and talk with him. We can't hear anything of their conversation. All we hear is Mellow teacher in a raised voice exclaim, "Deer don't have upwards of 6 goddamn legs though." Ranger is visibly disturbed through the whole conversation. We wind up leaving the next day, a day early. Dave is the only one that will talk about it. He says he admits he thinks it was the same creature and it wasn't a deer. School stops going to Cypress Hills due to changes in policy about field trips. Hey, everyone, took a while to write this story down, but I lost the notebook where I had all these logged for a bit. This is another story about when I used to work for the call center. I must preface this now that, to me, this one is the most unbelievable one in the sense that I'm shocked no one has spoken about this particular company on this site before. Be me working the night shift. Working from about 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. Boss trusted me enough to leave for the night. This results in me being the only one in the building. It's cool cause it's a Friday going into Saturday. No one ever calls during those hours. Sitting there doing the professional equivalent of sitting around with my hand on my dick. Notice how subtly eerie the whole building is. Prime spooky material. Old carpets, scratched up walls, buzzing light fixtures, and even then 75% of the lights in the building were turned off. Suddenly get that feeling like I probably shouldn't be there. Think to myself, it's already 3 a.m. and you're getting paid double under the table, so who cares? Begin playing my PSP and boot up some GTA. Having fun being a degenerate in the game when suddenly I hear a scratch. I jumped from my chair the millisecond I heard it. I settled down and chalk it up to nerves since I was quite literally the only one in the building. At least, I thought I was. Didn't help the place was freezing cold at the time, so I already had shivers all over. Tried my best to ignore it and go back to work. Didn't seem like whatever made that sound was coming back. I simply just go back to work laughing it off as just shaky nerves. Fast forward to about 4 a.m. I start hearing a click. I recognize the sound. It's the sound of a lighter. What the fuck, JPG? Seeing it's time for lunch, I decide to go investigate. Walking around the office trying to find any clue as to where the noise came from. Can't seem to find a trail. Like whatever heard me knew I heard it and panicked. Now officially spooked, I begin to look around the restrooms. Empty. The cafeteria. Empty. Training rooms. Empty. Healthcare department. Empty. The entire building had an occupancy of 1. I begin texting my friend. He says it's probably the wind and the nerves are getting to me being all alone in a big empty building. I know what I heard and it wasn't the fucking wind. Decide to go get a cup of coffee from the cafeteria and say fuck it. Sitting there watching the clock roll down as my lunch hour passes. As I sit there drinking the shitty coffee from the vending machine, I see it. On the table close to mine. A cigarette. A semi-lit cigarette. I stare at the thing for what seems like an eternity. Almost like I was frozen. I jump off my chair and go to the phone. We had a specific phone that is only to be used if we needed to call a manager, or as we call them, team leader, for an emergency. I dial up the number. Manager picks up the phone from some club. Least the loud music led me to believe it was a club. Anon? What's up, dude? What's going on? I think there's someone here, dude. Like someone who isn't supposed to be. Anon just calls the cops? My lapse in judgment finally got to my head. Yes, sorry, I'll do that right now. It's just I kept hearing this random scratching and this cig I found. Cig? Anon. Whatever you do, stay right there and don't fucking move. Me and some other TLS are gonna be right over. But what about the cops? Don't call them, we'll handle it. Kind of taken aback by what I just got told, I just tell him okay and wait. All the while the night seems to stand still. All of a sudden I feel like someone is watching me. That very specific feeling when you can just tell that a pair of eyes are on you. I turn around. Nothing. Being the big brain 200 IQ Anon I commence to say. Hello? I hear another quick lighter click. I see one of the panels of the ceiling move. Oh, that's what's going on. .png. I think to myself to take the initiative and get a ladder. Once again 200 IQ here. I got up into the ceiling and start looking around with my cruddy phone flashlight. Find piles of used cigs, food wrappers, and even some feces, all over the place. It smells like something fucking died. Around that time my cell phone rings. It's my boss. Hello? Anon. Are you good? Where are you? I tell him that I'm fine and that for now the noises have simmered down. Didn't want to tell him that I was investigating because I didn't want to get reprimanded on my first night all alone. As soon as we hang up I continue my trek and keep looking through the gunk and leftover papers, wondering what the fuck I just stumbled into. I see something at the corner of the room. A lone filing cabinet. Wide open. Bunch of files there, and I decide to read some shit like company finances from like 2005 and shit. Nothing special except one drawer. Reports. Curiosity got the better of me. I check the files and it's full of reports from over the years. You name it, it's there. Drugs. Sexual abuse. Verbal abuse. All sorts of shady underhanded shit that's gotten reported that you swear. And the dates all go up to the time when I worked 2018. 2019. See the reports I made for David, if any of you remember that story. This is essentially a dumping ground for all the shit that's been reported and locked up so it doesn't get leaked out to the public. This is some Illuminati tier shit. From then, I felt that sense of someone looking at me. I turn around and there he was. This chubby scruffy man. Had to be in his 40s. He starts yelling. "What the fuck are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Get out." For half a second I almost asked him the same, but I was too scared and began to bolt out of there. I can hear his chasing me and I decide to go full retard and jump through the hole where the ceiling piece I removed earlier was. I land right on my ass and I'm in some bad pain. I see the guy above me and he just stares. I bolt out of the building and run into my boss. Dude sees I'm shaken up and he asks if I'm okay. I tell him that I went up to check to see what the noise was and this big chubby dude was there. He stops me as soon as I say chubby dude and he walks in with 5 other TLS. Doesn't take more than a few minutes for him to come out dragging this dude from the collar. And I don't mean a normal drag out. I mean it looks like they gave him a good boot or two to the head before he came out. Sitting there watching this guy whimper on the ground whilst my boss tells his other TL friends to take him to the other room. My eyes at this point are just wide fucking open. Looks like I just saw a murder. Boss comes to me and asks if I'm okay. I tell him yet and ask who that guy is. He gives me an answer that comes off as 100% bullshit. Tells me it's some homeless guy who keeps getting into the building during the late hours. Every now and then they have to get the cops on him. Today they wanted to catch him themselves to make sure nothing happened. All the while my bullshit alarm is going off. Before I can even say anything my boss stops me. "So Anon. Yeah? Any reason you smell like cigs even though you don't smoke?" My blood ran cold. For that matter, why exactly do you have a few McDonald's wrappers on you if you don't eat that? Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Boss begins to tell me some shit about how the company likes to keep things to itself. How they don't like certain things getting out due to it being too much of a headache. Tells me that sometimes things don't go the way it's supposed to and that sometimes drastic measures are kind of needed. Looks me right in the eye and then asks, "You didn't see anything up there, right?" "No, sir." "You sure?" He then proceeds to tell me that I'm off for the rest of the week with paid time off. Just to let me relax a bit. Tells me to go home and we'll talk when I come back. Following week I come to work and get called by him immediately. "Mr. Anon, come to my office please." Boss tells me that I'm going to be sent to a new position to full-time trainer. Tells me that I'm also going to be transferred to a different site in the city. There were technically 2 call centers sites Indiana my town. Says I'm going to get double pay, extra time off, basically all the perks of being a TL without all the hassle. All this sounds shocking as hell to me.